this around.
Chiefs Kingdom, welcome in to a Super Bowl edition, or an AFC Championship edition, I should say. AFC Champion edition of the AP Film Room on the Arrowhead Pride Facebook, YouTube, Twitter pages. Appreciate you joining us tonight or whenever you are watching. I'm Ron Kopp Jr., the lead analyst at the site. Joining me, as always, Caleb James at CJ Scoobs, Nate Christensen at NateCH32 on Twitter. Boys, we are back in another Super Bowl. Ridiculous to think about after some of these AP film rooms we've had this year, looking at the way, how bad they've been at times this year. Man, we are very blessed. Nate, I'll start with you, man. Just how are you feeling after, the Chiefs are back in another Super Bowl?
Yeah, I was certainly surprised. I didn't think they'd be able to do it. I picked the Ravens to win.
Me too.
I think the Ravens are a great team. I don't take back anything I said about them. Everything I saw all season suggested statistically when I saw that they were a very good team, and it's quite the accomplishment to win. I really think that was the best team the Chiefs have ever played in the Mahomes era. I saw some of that floating around the internet this week. I really believe that, especially what the Ravens are defensively, what they had been offensively all year. So it was just quite an accomplishment. I was just so surprised, but so happy about it too.
Yeah, no, it really, we've really turned into the Patriots kind of level where it's like, how is this team back in it? They're ruining teams' chances of getting a title. We're Michael Jordan it to Charles Barkley to Drexler to all those guys that didn't get a title in the 90s. Caleb, how are you feeling about being the villain of the NFL? Everyone hates us now.
Man, it is freaking awesome, and especially to go into that building and beat the Ravens kind of the way you did, because that's a franchise that since they've come into being the Baltimore Ravens, they've kind of prided themselves on defense, special teams, being the more physical, aggressive team. That's kind of the mentality that this Ravens team had this season, the way they played on offense, and of course with their defense being as good as it was. But this week the Chiefs came in, they forced them to make the silly mistakes. They forced them into the bad turnovers. They made they put the pressure on them. They forced them to make the mental errors, and the Chiefs did out physically play them. So it was really awesome to see.
Yeah, the out physical stuff is true. And I know you're going to be looking at that a little bit. You got the offensive line you'll be looking at a little later, plus a few other things. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to break down today, everybody, on the game. Caleb's got that. Nate will be looking at the defense, kind of how they were able to stifle the Ravens' rushing attack, and also just Lamar Jackson in general. The MVP quarterback didn't do much on Sunday. But I'm going to start out tonight, fellas, because I do want to talk about what we saw on Sunday as one of the just most Hall of Fame kind of legendary cementing moments to me for the Mahomes-Kelce connection, because what you saw on Sunday was an offense that made it very simple and said, look, we're going to rely on our best players. That's what they were doing all postseason, right, is really simplifying who gets the ball. It's Pacheco, it's Rice, it's Kelce. And I feel like that even got narrowed down this Sunday where, hey, we're either handing it off to Pacheco or we're getting, a play to Kelce or Rice, or then you had the sprinkle in the big pass plays to an MVS or a Justin Watson. I think they each had a first down catch. Obviously, MVS's was late, but got to talk about Mahomes and Kelce first of all, because they were just on fire in clutch situations. This was the fourth down on the opening drive, trying to keep the drive alive. Sprint out pass. Ravens are all over it, right? They Clyde, first of all, is just getting mugged here. Can't even get out into his route. And he may just be trying to set the edge too, because you have The routes over here, Richie James, MVS running the out in the corner, just clogged up, right? So Mahomes just quickly pivots back across the field, sees Kelce on the drag route, boom, first down. And you can kind of see here in the end zone angle, Kelce just does a good job of keeping Stevens' hands off him kind of subtly at the very end, kind of uses his right hand to kind of keep him away, seal him off. Ball's way out in front, or not way out in front, but perfectly out in front to keep the defender from getting to it. First down. So that was nice. But then it turns up here, which I just think is I call that a Hall of Fame pitch and catch, because it really is. You got the out and up here where Kelce's going to try to get Hamilton to bite hard on the out, right? We actually saw this, if you guys remember, in the Super Bowl against the Eagles last year. Kelce got a touchdown right off the bat on this play. Linebacker bit on the out. It was more man coverage, though. I mean, this is man coverage, but the guy was more like pressing Kelce off the line, so it was a little easier to execute maybe. This time, Hamilton does a great job staying on top, right? But Kelce just does an awesome job of staying in position, keeping Hamilton's long arms from getting to the back shoulder, right? But Kelce actually talked about this on his pod today, too. It's the late hands. It's the late turn. It's the late pivot where he really doesn't go for the ball until it's there. And obviously, you can't go for the ball too early on a back shoulder either way because it's just going to be bad time. But his ability to keep Hamilton's he has a crazy wingspan. It was like 95th percentile coming out of Notre Dame. To keep him from getting in there and knocking it away, securing the pass, but also just the freaking where it is, right? The placement, low and away, just absolutely beautiful. Touchdown, Chiefs, just crazy stuff. But that was beating good coverage. This is more about getting to Kelce, and kind of scheming him open a little bit. This time they're gonna get Hamilton kind of in a pretzel here. 3rd and 1, run fake. Hamilton's going to come up hard on Kelce because he's trying to engage. He's trying to play run defense. The quickness of Mahomes to pull the ball, but also Kelce to kind of slip off of him, kind of just freezes him. And he tries to make a play with this, again, 80-inch wingspan. He thinks he can probably get a hand on this, but that's Mahomes being Mahomes. Just an absolutely perfect play over him. Gets him a little first down. And so here is the 3rd down play with the scramble, right? This was awesome. 10 seconds back here. You can count him. He is back here. But I guess I should point out that I do think, Mahomes had some option to go to at first. Right here, there's one guy to this side of the field, really. And you got Richie coming to here and Clyde in the flat. So if you kind of read that guy, Mahomes could have maybe made a decision like, okay, well, maybe I can go to the flat. Maybe I can make a quick pass here. But I do think the Ravens pass rush kind of blocks him off from Richie James here to an extent. His vision isn't great there. And so he is making a move. He's working around, and just the end zone angle's crazier look at it. But this isn't the look to me. I don't watch Kelce here torquing his body, twisting around, and finally making that catch. Like, that's not someone who's about to retire. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just not a play that someone that is on the verge of retirement is going to make. So I thought that was an insane play. Just looking at where Mahomes releases it, ball's released. This is where Kelce is on the other side of the hash. Look where he catches it, almost in the middle of the field, all the way around, spinning around. Just absolutely absurd. Again, another Hall of Fame play. But I do want to, before we get to the game-winning pass, I do want to show, that he also got oh, no, did I not get those plays in here? Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, so he also got open schematically, and I thought this was really cool, that the Chiefs used Justin Watson to release vertically, strategically right inside him a few times. And what that does is just kind of freed him up, right? It just kind of protected him from Roquan getting all the way out there. The out route he has time on. Watson seals. Watson just has that little bit of physicality, a little bit of shoulder, and you actually see it on this next play even more, because he kind of shoulder checks Kyle Hamilton here, and actually does it's a pretty hard shoulder check. You could say, oh shoot, is that offensive pass interference? But he actually does just such a good job of running through the route. You wouldn't be able to see that, it was a hard hit, and a hit that deserves an OPI. Hamilton tries to call for it, but Watson does a good job there of getting it. But here's the thing, the last play of the game, I thought this was really cool. Kelce is at the top here, right? And, obviously on a 3rd and 9, the Ravens are going to be all over him. They have Kyle Hamilton right up against him. The one high safety is down here, probably kind of thinking about Kelce or Rice over the middle. You have Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen at the second level. Roquan's going to be the one I think that ends up, or no, Roquan or Patrick's kind of the one that is in the middle of the field. But Kelce stays in the block. And so I think that does just kind of throw off everybody. Like, oh, shoot. Like, what am I supposed to do over here? Like, oh, shoot. I'm going to be looking for Rice now. And I think it does just throw everyone off so much that they just, like, 32 just doesn't even consider the vertical route. 32 is just completely sold on Rice or Kelce. Once you see Kelce release, he's going up. And it just makes it so easy for MVS to release vertically, to get past and into the vertical, into the deep space. First down. Game over, AFC Championship sealed. But again, I just think it was cool to see on the final play of the game, Kelce is actually in the chip and really it wastes a few Ravens defenders, I think, waste their eyes. And it makes that play. So just a Hall of Fame performance from Mahomes and Kelce. 11 for 11, right? They didn't have one incompletion when they were being thrown to each other, or, when he was being thrown to. It's just amazing to me because, and Nate, I know, and I'll throw it to you because I know you have takes on like Kyle Hamilton, but like this Ravens team does feel like they have the personnel that you would need if you want to take away a Travis Kelce, and they still couldn't. So I don't know. What were your takes on the game once you kind of watched the Chiefs offense?
Well, what was interesting though is that like the way Kelce won wasn't the way like he should win, in the sense that like the Ravens limited everything between the numbers. Between the hashes. Yeah. The only play that in structure he got was on the backside of that sprint out. And really, you're not supposed to get there on a sprint out. Like, you're not supposed to get all the way to that backside. So they were getting him outside the numbers more. I think they were like just actively avoiding Roquan, Patrick Queen, which makes sense. And yeah, they were putting Kelce in the slot a lot, in the number 2 spot, because they were trying to get Kyle Hamilton to declare, which the Ravens did. They did a lot of different things with Hamilton, so it didn't always work. But yeah, they came in with a clear strategy of like, we have to use Kelce in these specific ways to try and unlock these coverages, and then we can attack them in certain ways. And that's what they did. And it was all outside the numbers. So like, it wasn't like a traditional Kelce game, I guess I would say. It was like a very different way of using him than like they usually would use him normally.
Yeah, and that's how I felt after the Buffalo game too. So that is an interesting kind of trend we're seeing, that, and especially with Rice, I think some of that's with Rice too, being able to do some of that middle of the field stuff. But yeah, I think that's a good point, kind of just staying away from Roquan, because Kyle Hamilton had a good game. I mean, he was flying all over ridiculous. The place. Yeah, and so it is a testament to the greatness of the Chiefs offense being able to overcome that. Caleb, what did you see from the, any takes, I guess, in the Hall of Fame game, as we were talking about, and then you're going to get to the other part of the offense that looked good on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, they needed Mahomes and Kelce to show up, and they showed up in the biggest spots possible. That last play to MVS was crazy because, like, what do you think their reaction was when that play got called in the huddle? Like, what do you think everyone is sitting there thinking? We're probably going deep to MVS here, guys. No, that was really nice for him, though, just to be able to like come back and say, I made up for a lot of the problems down this year. I made the catch that sealed the game. Really, though, I thought one of the plays is awesome. You guys mentioned that sprint out to Kelce. You mentioned them using him untraditionally. That was like the Chiefs' little sprint out where they throw into the flat. It's the play they used to run a lot when Tyreek Hill was here. It's a play they still run even after he left. But the thing was, you even heard like Tony Romo mention it. He's like, oh, it's going to be a flat route over here. They did run that, but that was to get the attention away from Kelce. You see that play, like Kelce's like running like 3/4 speed to start the play, and then all of a sudden he sprints right when Mahomes gets to the point where he needs to get to on the drop. So that was just some crafty play calling. I thought Andy did a really good job. Everybody involved did a good job. But I'll go ahead and pull up my videos here, or at least one of mine. And the Chiefs, let me start, like, they didn't really run the ball that well. The pass protection I thought was fine for the most part. There was some coverage stuff a lot of the time, but really in a game like this against a team like Baltimore, it's not every play is going to be, the most efficient. They're really good. They have really good linebackers. They got good defensive tackles. They're solid across the board. But to win a game like this, you do have to be the most physical team on the field. And I really thought the Chiefs, between like the entire offensive line and Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, they really, put that emphasis on. And this is just a nice little Pacheco run. They're running power here. Really pretty good down block by Donovan Smith. I thought Donovan Smith played pretty well. And Allegretti there with Kelce working up to the second level. and Trey Smith kicking out. And Trey Smith could stop his block there, but he's just trying to kind of put an emphasis on this game. You see a little bit better from the wide, but he gets into, I think that's Patrick Queen there. Instead of just, holding off, he's trying to get in there, and he wants to make it, he's trying to instigate something. They did get him a couple of times as we go along here. They're trying to get the guys to react out there. They're trying to get them, uncomfortable, flustered. They're trying to cause a reaction. And I think as the game went on, I do think Baltimore started to get a little bit tired of it. And, it is a big game to the point where it's like, and you see that block by Smith there again in power and not just wanting to stop at the whistle. He's coming through, and this was late in the game. This play was actually on, I believe this was on the final drive. This is right before Smith hit him really hard off the snap. But you see that power and physicality he had. You see the down block from Donovan Smith and Kelce on the tray block there to create space. I mean, that's just kind of what the Chiefs were trying to do. They knew what they had up against them. They knew how hard it was going to be. They were just trying to finish guys. And I think against, with Ray Lewis in the building, Ed Reed in the building, this game meant a lot to like the Ravens organization in general. And for the Chiefs to come out here and like have guys like Trey Smith putting blocks on their guy, that's their guy. That's Roquan Smith. For him to be out there putting blocks on that, fighting through the whistle, playing and play out, I think that meant a lot to the Chiefs, especially up front and, through some of their blocking. And you see Creed working up here. This was awesome. Gets up to Smith. It's a hard 4 yards, but again, just Humphrey being able to finish the play at the very end, that adds the cherry on top there. This was the Pacheco touchdown. Donovan Smith is really smart here. I'll let this play out right quick. But what happens is Clowney's on the outside there, and he's actually getting ready to cheat. Teams have been cheating. They've been pinching down on a lot of power here, stuff like that. So he cheats and immediately goes into the B gap, but Smith is smart. He sticks with him, creates a big down block. Kelce doesn't really get a ton there, but Trey Smith is so big that he's just able to power through everything. And you actually see Donovan Smith clears a nice wall right there to be able to lead the path in. And really, I don't have a ton of clips from pass protection. Late in the game, it kind of broke down. The secondary was starting to figure things out, though. Mahomes was starting to run around a little bit. Allegretti got beat a couple of times late, but I thought the tackles were awesome. I thought that Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor both really stepped up and played well. And they both played pretty clean games as far as pass protection goes. They made sure to stick with stuff, which I think helped Mahomes buy a little extra time to find Rice, find Kelce. And the Ravens just go with a double twist here on each side. They go with an ET over there against Taylor and Trey Smith. And then over here on the right, they go with an in or a TE twist. And the Chiefs just do a really fantastic job of bottling everything up. You'll see specifically with Taylor and Smith, you'll see defensive end goes down, but Taylor gets it passed off well. 92 is coming, so Trey Smith just keeps working, and then they try to like double back, but they end up screwing themselves up, and it just gives Mahomes this big, massive window, and they both kind of slap him in the head there and let him know he probably shouldn't try that again. But all in all, I just thought that was it was a really gritty performance. This is the kind of style of football they used to play back in the 1990s. You can still win playing like this today. Not every, you don't have to be the most efficient team sometimes. Sometimes you just have to be the most nasty team out there.
Well, and it's just nice to see the offensive line be, the offensive line I think we all thought they could be to an extent, especially the interior offensive line with kind of nastiness we've seen from Trey Smith this entire postseason run. But yeah, I just think it's been cool to see the whole O-line. You showed Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor both having, positive reps. I just think it was just good to see, Nate. How you feeling about the Chiefs offensive line after these last 3 games?
Yeah, I think this is more about the offense overall. I think Reed knew that they only had a few drives in them. I think that's why he designed the scripts the way they did, because like the Ravens after that second drive really just kind of clamped down on everything. Yeah. I thought early in the game that like the Chiefs did a really good job of getting their defensive ends like washed inside because they were losing contain. The Ravens were a lot. The Ravens eventually in the second half, I thought we're just like, we have Matabike, who's really, really good. We're just going to let him win. And that's kind of what happened. But it was enough, right? Like that's sort of the thing. Like everyone knew, like when I was talking about like the offense and like the AP comments and stuff, I was like, the fact is the Chiefs knew they only had 2 drives in them. Like I think the Chiefs knew going into this game they can't score 27 points. So we just got to execute on our opening script in certain ways. And they did that. And it was enough to win. So you got to credit them. And the 2 opening scripts, like, I don't really think it was just bad defense. I just think the Chiefs executed like 26 straight plays or whatever. But I don't know how long the first drive was. The second drive was 16 plays. So it was just speaking to their level of execution and detail, which, goes into the read script and the practice. So they deserve a lot of credit for that.
100%. And I mean, yeah, even you could say even at screen that they didn't get, they got called back or whatever, it's like after that, it really got shut down. And so, I think you're right. And they could trust the defense a little bit because the defense played an awesome game on Sunday, like they've been doing obviously for a lot of this season. But I don't know, Sunday's game might've been, in terms of holding the Ravens down to only 7 points and that one touchdown coming pretty flukily. I don't know, Nate, tell us about how you came out of looking at the Chiefs defense on Sunday.
Yeah, it was an interesting defensive game because I think there was a lot of factors that went in the Chiefs' advantage early. I don't know. I can't say this without knowing directly, but I think they knew that the Ravens, I guess the Ravens scheme this year, they're a lot more of a spread team. They're a lot more of like a drop back team. Todd Monken has done, I really like Todd Monken's scheme in general. I think it's a really good scheme, but the Chiefs knew like we just have to take runs off the table early and that the Ravens might be able to kind of abandon it based off the way they're playing. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about was that there's been a lot of talk about Todd Monken and the running backs, only giving Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, I believe, 5 carries. And then Lamar only had 2 designed runs. Zay Flowers had 2 runs himself. They barely ran the football. And honestly, people are like, why didn't they do it? They should have done it more. And I think there's validity to that. Although I think the Chiefs kind of took it off the menu like pretty early in this game. Some of it was the score, but they also just stopped the run. I think they stopped the run of their base defense. The Ravens were playing either, I was just saying 12 personnel based off the way they used Ricard. You could count at 21, or else they would use Andrews. And that would put the Chiefs in their base defense. And they just kind of stopped the run. So we'll run through a couple run defense clips for Wick. They're going to run this kind of CT kind of counter, like read bash with this option. Charles Minute is going to squeeze inside, so Lamar's going to keep it, run to the edge. Typically, that's kind of a disaster, but you kind of notice how Mike Edwards does. Mike Edwards takes this inside angle. He's able to get enough of Jackson to where Jackson kind of has to slow down, kind of spin out of it. He can't get to that front side sideline. And like typically, like when a Minute squeezes inside here, that'd be kind of a disaster. But Edwards' angle, his pursuit angle, his ability to slow him down, kind of kept this play going anywhere. I thought this was a cool play design, but just Drew Tranquill just kind of read it out well. They're going to kind of fake this speed option at the end around. And Drew Tranquill just kind of sits all over. He doesn't, fake the kind of front side tackle pull or the speed option. He just kind of sits on the backside, takes it away. This third clip here, I believe this is the first play to start the third quarter. This is really interesting to me. So the Chiefs are going to come out in this kind of 2 high shell from their base defense. They're actually going to have, I don't know if I have this clip here, but Ricard, they were going to have Ricard flip sides, but they actually told Ricard to stay because the Chiefs were kind of in this 2 high shell, so they thought they could get like a better run look. But Justin Reed's going to come from depth, and he's just going to tackle Gus Edwards one-on-one in the hole, which is not an easy thing to do at all. Just sticks him at the line of scrimmage. Clearly, like John Harbaugh at halftime talked about kind of establishing like a rhythm in the second half, and the Chiefs weren't able to do that the Ravens weren't able to do that because of what the Chiefs were doing. And I think it honestly started with their run defense. Like I mentioned here, Lamar's telling Ricard to go back. They like the look they get into, especially after this motion from Zay Flowers. But Justin Reed coming down from depth, he can tackle one-on-one the hole. Justin Reed's been really good at tackling this year, and that kind of showed up again this Sunday. The next thing I kind of want to talk about, I want to make sure that I have this clipped right. I believe this, yes. So the other thing the Chiefs did was there was a lot of talk about the Ravens' pass protection from their running backs. The Ravens gave up a lot of pressures from their running backs this week. I believe I saw the count was, I believe either 4 or 5, and it was kind of crazy. And people were talking about why wasn't Gus Edwards playing. I'll get back to it. Sorry, I lost track of my clip. But to keep talking, like they were playing Justice Hill a lot instead of Gus Edwards. And Gus Edwards is a lot of like a bigger running back, better suited in pass protection. But what my theory was, what I wrote in the article, is that Todd Monken kind of thought that he would be able to get Justice Hill, who's really good as a wide receiver, one-on-one with like Nick Bolton or Leo Chanel or even Drew Tranquill in space. But what the Chiefs did to counter this is like, if Justice Hill's in the backfield, we're just going to blitz and we're going to force Justice Hill to stay in pass protection. And Justice Hill's like a 5'8", 170. He's not going to be able to deal with our linebackers and safeties. I thought the Chiefs kind of routinely attacked him. You're going to see Justin Reed kind of come through the B gap here. The Ravens picked this up fine, but they're just isolating Justice Hill one-on-one at pass protection. And Justin Reed has become a really good blitzer over the past year. It's not just like him running through contact. He actually has a really like good swim move that he gets to a lot. That works pretty well because he's a big safety. So guys are trying to kind of get him into contact, and he's able to kind of avoid that. I am missing one clip here, but I thought Drew Tranquill's blitzing really showed out on Sunday. This one wasn't against Justice Hill. I forgot that clip, but he was able actually to dip around Ronnie Stanley here. And I thought that the Chiefs kind of used him smartly in those ways. They were using him against Justice Hill, but just a kind of a cool clip here. He's just able to kind of get around Ronnie Stanley around the corner, show that kind of bend. Obviously, this play goes for forward, but the other thing I thought
that was nice. I'll just say that bend was kind of wild.
He wants to become a pass rusher. Might need him in 2 weeks.
Leo, man.
But the other things, and the rest of these plays, we're going to kind of talk about the coverage that the Chiefs kind of played, and there's kind of a bunch of different clips, but I thought it was a good marriage of coverage and pass rush in certain situations. This is Charles Omenihu's strip sack, and I'll kind of talk about like what the concept plays out as. They're going to motion Zay Flowers across, and the Chiefs are going to kind of play cover 3, and kind of the concept here I'll play it out. But Bateman's going to run a deep post. Zay Flowers is kind of run a dig behind it, pretty basic concept from like a high low to an intermediate read. I believe this is Odell. He's going to kind of run a curl on the backside. And as we kind of play this out, this is just kind of a play action play. I'll kind of pause at different moments. Like right here, Lamar is kind of just already at the top of his drop. He's ready to throw. I thought Nick Bolton's coverage was actually pretty good on Sunday, especially when he wasn't in man. He's kind of roboting. He's able to take away this dig window. So Lamar, he's looking this way, and I think at the sideline angle or the end zone angle. So this is thrown away. This backside curl's not open. Drew Tranquill's in the flat here. So Lamar's holding the ball. And eventually against cover 3, this is an open post. I'll kind of play it out here. If Lamar had time, that's a touchdown. That's wide, relatively open. He puts it on the numbers. That's a huge play down the field to Bateman, who's really, really fast. However, when I talk about this marriage of kind of pass rush and coverage, this is where Charles Omenihu's strip sack comes in. Charles Omenihu obviously hurt. Really sad news. I didn't realize it was an ACL in the game because I thought I saw him walk off the field. He wasn't carted off or anything, but he got the strip sack. He got a huge play before he got hurt, using kind of his length on Ronnie Stanley, kind of pushing with this inside arm, able to get this outside arm off of him using kind of his powerful hands. Even though Omenihu is not really a bender, he's just so long that he can stride around the corner so quickly. Getting the strip sack. I believe the Chiefs I don't know if they kicked the field goal on that drive or if that was the 4th and 1 drive, but still huge play in a game to force a turnover like that. This is Chris Jones' sack, and we'll kind of talk about that too, but this is just really good man coverage. And we'll kind of talk about it. So Drew Tranquill is going to be in man-to-man here on Mark Andrews on this kind of hitch option route. The Ravens are also going to run this out and up to the bottom. That's Mike Edwards, excuse me. Mike Edwards kind of defends it well. Lamar does eventually able to kind of get to this backside once we get back here. I believe this is Rashad Bateman. He's going to run this dig, and it's a good release, and he gets open. But by the time Lamar can really progress back to that backside, which is his 4th read, Chris Jones is crushing the pocket with power. This is just a nasty bull rush. He's John Simpson's a good player, really strong player, but Chris Jones just has so much length, so much power that he's able to just kind of get underneath his pads and overwhelm. Chris Jones is so big for a defensive tackle. People underrate that. He's got huge arms. He's 6'6". He's just an enormous player. This is actually the touchdown, but I kind of wanted to show it because this touchdown was more of just a 10-second play breakdown. Leo Chanel just missing a tackle. But this is a really good coverage by the Chiefs. They're going to be playing cover 4. The Ravens are in this YY formation, and they're going to run this kind of scissors concept. So a scissors concept is one guy runs to the corner, one guy runs the post. They kind of look like they intersect in terms of a scissors. And the Chiefs just defend this well out of quarters. They are able to kind of pass this off. There's no communication breakdown on this backside corner. It's taken away. Obviously, the missed sack, you don't like to see it, but this is good coverage for the most part. If you're going to miss a sack, it just happens. Sometimes that happens in the NFL. Happened to the Ravens, right, on that 3rd and 4 plays. So that's just what happens when you play a quarterback as good as Lamar Jackson. A couple more clips here. I don't watch Lamar enough on all 22 to know this definitively. My theory is that the Steve Spagnuolo kind of identified a tendency with kind of these 4x1 formations because the Ravens run them a lot. When they kind of get man free or cover 1, Lamar really likes this backside route. He threw it 6 or 7 times in this game, particularly on these go routes, but even these underneath routes, he really likes getting to this backside. And I thought the Chiefs did a good job taking it away. I believe this is Jalen Watson. Joshua Williams had the other one, but this is just good coverage on the sideline. Bateman sort of gets open, this is a pretty tight window and into the sideline. Lamar wasn't super accurate throwing to the sidelines either, but I think the Chiefs sort of knew this is Joshua Williams with here. against Odell. And like Odell gets open to start, but like Josh Williams has good recovery, makes that throwing window hard. So I think the Chiefs must have known something that I would have to imagine that was on the scouting report that like Lamar, when they're in that kind of isolated formation against man coverage, he's really going to throw the backside. This is the 3rd and 1 play. The Ravens were able to convert to 4th and 1 after, but I thought this was just awesome coverage when I watched it on film. Chiefs are going to bail into a cover 2. Todd Monken calls a really good beater here. This is just a pretty standard beater, which is a hitch and a wrap dig behind it. And I don't know because we don't have the sound on the film. So either Justin Reed calls out to Mike Edwards that this wrap dig is coming through, or Mike Edwards notices himself. But look at Mike Edwards. He's sitting here, and he turns and takes away this dig window. That is something that does not happen very often in the NFL. Like, trust me, those wrap digs get open all the time, especially in like offenses like these. Like these middle hole defenders can take away all the time. So I've attributed in my article. I don't know if it was Justin Reed calling it out. I don't know if Mike Edwards noticed it. Still an awesome coverage play. And we'll kind of let the Alexis play break out. But like Lamar didn't really have anywhere to go because this play was only like that's their main cover 2 beater. And after that, like nobody else gets open. They convert the 4th down, but I just still thought it was awesome coverage play. So overall, it was a fantastic performance by the Chiefs defense. I didn't think Lamar played well, but the Chiefs forced Lamar not to play well. Like they really did. I thought their combination of blitzes, I thought the fact that they put him in really hard spots with the game script because they couldn't run the football. And one thing I thought people were talking about is like, well, why didn't they run the football more? But it was like the Chiefs put them in 2nd and 9 every time they ran the ball. So like if you're Todd Monken, I'd rather try and throw a 6-yard pass than a 1-yard run. So the Chiefs just kind of took that element away. They had good blitzes. They attacked the Ravens at running backs and pass protection. They defended well for the secondary. It was just a great all-around performance. They mixed things up. It was just a great game plan. I thought the Chiefs defense would play well. I didn't think they'd play that well. I thought the Ravens would score like 24 to 27 points. I think my prediction was 30 to 23, so I guess I had them at 30. But I thought the Chiefs defense still play well within that. I did not expect them to play this well, and they just deserve a ton of credit for what's been a truly incredible defense, the best one I've seen in my lifetime as a Chiefs fan. Even though I love the 2015 Chiefs, I unfortunately have to pick the 2023 Chiefs. They've just been excellent, and they deserve a ton of credit. They're the reason why they got here. I hope if they win the Super Bowl, the number one thing I'll remember about this team isn't Mahomes, it's not Kelce. It's just the fact that this defense played fantastic against the top competition all year.
Man, that 2015 defense, it is tough. I don't know. You got Tamba, you got Justin.
Oh, this one's definitely better.
DJ, you got EB, you got Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hussein Abdullah.
No, I'm just kidding. This probably is the best Chief fence.
It definitely
maybe
is.
Maybe of all time. But that's the thing. It is kind of hey, the best. Some of the best defenses never even got the chance to play on this stage. So
that's true.
I mean, that was a great breakdown. I enjoyed your breakdown of that, and I think the DBs really were the headline of the game. Right, what you just showed, the Mike Edwards, Justin Reed thing was a perfect example of just how much playmaking this defensive backfield just does instinctually. How much Spags just must have just trust these guys so much. It seems like to just. I think Snead had the quote after the game, right, where they only played cover 0 or tango, which, tango is just, an aggressive zone where you're basically picking up your, right. Like you're in man coverage, but you kind of, you are kind of playing a zone type of defense. And I think that just tells you he trusts the DBs like, hey, we're either, we're doing two things, just play fast, play hard. And that's what you saw. So that was really cool to see. Great breakdown. But there's a few underrated plays, that we aren't talking about as much, right, Caleb? There's a few things from this game that got overlooked and securing the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
Yeah, just a little bit, and I mean it's a championship level game, so I mean every play is going to be important. There were just a few plays I thought, through the course of the game that set things up. It's not always about the play in the moment; it's about setting something up that's about to happen. I've just always, especially with the Chiefs this year, it's a team more than anything is how we're seeing them win games. I'm trying to pull this up here.
Yeah. Hey, full team. We just talked about the defense,
full
but
team.
Special teams, that third unit, baby.
Well, we're going to get a little bit of that here. So this play I'm about to show you right now, this was right after just the penalties from Trey Smith, the phantom hold, whatever you want to call it. They called a backside guard on a wide receiver screen for a hold. It's like, tell me you're looking for something without telling me you're looking for something here. And just, with the way the Chiefs could have played this, in the past, they might have just tried to get all those points back, but they were smart here. The most important thing the Chiefs could have going into this week was a 2-possession lead going into halftime. Just based on the way Baltimore plays, They haven't had a ton of games this year where they've had to play down multiple possessions, and whether it be 14 points or 10, it's still going to be big. So they give Kelce all this cushion, but he's smart. Mahomes is smart, just completes it quickly, gets down the field. It's almost like a little bit of a mini version of the 13 seconds play. Just take advantage of the space they give you, give Butker a chance. And I know, I'm just going to run the field goal clip here just for a second after we get through this end zone look, which they are heating Mahomes up. They do get like a free runner on him, but he still finds, a way to, get the ball off. This kick by Butker was not easy. There wasn't a ton of wind, but it was slick. It had been raining out there all game. It was a 52-yard field goal in the playoffs in Baltimore. It's not like the greatest weather conditions, and he absolutely drills it. I mean, how many teams do they have their championship windows derailed because they don't invest correctly in special teams? Give it. I'm Dave Tobe's biggest critic, but I'll give it up to him for this. I mean, when it comes to what their punter can do, when it comes to what Butker can do, when it comes to James Winchester, those three are the best in the business. They had their issues last season. This year, they've been nothing short of flawless. And the Chiefs didn't press. Baltimore, there was a couple of times they were going for it. They're being aggressive. The Chiefs get the ball in midfield right here. They're backed up. It's 4th and 13. They don't feel the need to press, though. We're going to pin them deep. And Tommy Townsend lays a perfect bomb right here on about the 5. But look at Justin Watson. He has the ball tracked back here when he's getting ready. He's starting to look for it. He's already getting his eyes on the ball here at about the 25, 20-yard line. And he just gets that perfect bounce to pin him deep. Now, Baltimore, they did convert off of the goal line. The Chiefs might have had a chance for a safety. They had a chance to get off the field on a 4th down. Those kinds of things happen.
Made the drive super long, though.
They do exactly. And I've got my time of possession stat this week was absolutely giant. I thought it was one of the most underrated aspects of the entire game this week. But also one thing is I'm pulling that up that we can look for. Okay, Nate, you broke down this play a second ago. This was the play right before the 4th down conversion. It stinks they gave up the 4th down conversion. But the point I wanted to bring up about this is Tershawn Wharton was playing incredibly hard. People are going, well, where's your stars on this play? These guys are gassed. Chasing Lamar Jackson around tires you out. Chiefs defense was dead by the end of the game. But honestly, give credit to Nick Bolton for running down the receiver there, and give credit because Lamar is eyeing it like he wants to go there. But you got to give credit to Wharton for running it down. He tackles him in bounds. Okay, there are times in the 4th quarter of this game the Ravens are letting the play clock run all the way down. And in my head, I'm like, I think they're going to regret letting so much time run here the way they play. And why does it all matter? They make him go the distance. They make Lamar throw the ball perfectly the entire distance and prove he is a pocket passer. And he goes up and forces one. And Deion Bush, a guy who rarely played in the regular season, who isn't just like some undrafted free agent. I think he might be, but he's a guy who's been in the league for 5 or 6 years. Right. He's a veteran. He's played some football in his career. And Lamar, he throws it in triple coverage. I mean, I don't know.
I have no idea what he's doing there.
He's trying to play here. I mean, I thought he got to the point where he's trying to play some hero ball, kind of like how you saw Josh Allen play a little bit the week prior, but they were just gambling like, Mahomes will make less mistakes than you and our defense can play. And
I didn't clip that because I honestly had no idea what Lamar was doing. I didn't know what coverage he was trying to read at all. Like I don't know. People were saying that he thought it was cover 0, but I don't know. I didn't think by the time that throw made, I was like, that was just, and it was short too. Like it wouldn't have been close, even if I think Bolton would have hit it off the back of his helmet. I thought that was just an awful throw.
Yeah. And there wasn't even just a tremendous amount of pass rush there because the pass rush was so dead. I have one more play I'm going to share really quickly. I know we're probably running out of time here, but I just thought this play was big, and it involves a guy named Shamari Connor. Actually, I need to remove this one from the studio first. Sorry, guys. But this play, I think, got missed a little bit, and honestly, you guys are going to see here in just a second why I might have put this play on here, because it looked for a second like we're about to get maybe like a vintage Lamar play. Connor's up there playing safety, and really, you get this great rush by Chris Jones, but now Lamar ends up in a spot where you start to get a little worried because you start to see this void open up, and you start to see this could be 2019 Lamar or 2020 Lamar all over again. but you see Shamari Connor comes from the top of the screen to get in there with all this space, like right here around Lamar. It's like this is the place they did not want to be in versus Lamar Jackson. Our defense is tired in the second half, but the guy with fresh legs came in and he makes a big play. They pick up yards, they get a first down and all of that. But that is literally the kind of play that we've seen Lamar like literally go nuts on and score and break highlight reels his entire career. And the Chiefs got a rookie safety who just blasts in there without fear.
Look at Jerry Sneed. He's like dead on the field. He's so tired.
Yeah, I mean, those guys were just – I mean, they're gassed out. I thought those were like some of the big underrated plays in this game. Those are like plays that win championships.
It's lucky that football's not a 5-quarter game because I don't think the Chiefs defense had another quarter. They were so done by the end of that game.
And that's what the Ravens do, right? And that's why it wasn't – because Justin Reed actually – that's a great point you bring up because Justin Reed talked about that before the game. He talked about how, you know, the second half is really when the Ravens start to wear on teams. So
yeah,
it was important that they had such a strong start at the beginning to kind of, you know, keep them, you know, from getting too worn out at the end. So that's a great point. Awesome underrated plays. There's a lot of underrated things about this team, right, that have gotten them to this point. And it's been awesome to watch. It's been fun to break down. And it's not over yet, fellas. We're going to have another big game to break down coming up in a couple weeks. Can't wait for that. Next week, though, we're back. We're going to be back. You know, I know these boys will be looking at some film. I'm definitely – I mean, we got to be looking at some Niners film, right? So we'll kind of divvy up what we're looking at, see how we can preview the Super Bowl next week. So look out for that. Look out for another edition of the AP Film Room then. But until then, boys, let's get out of here. Let's have a good night. Let the people enjoy their nights and enjoy the AFC title, right? So I don't know. Any final thoughts, Nate, Caleb? Anything you guys got for the people?
I really think this Ravens team was fantastic. Like I seriously I really enjoyed watching them. Like, and even in this game, I thought they played a really good defensive game. Even on those first two drives, the Chiefs they did enough. They executed on those first two drives. There's no credit taken away from the Ravens. They were just a fantastic team that the Chiefs went into and won. I really do believe, like, I had thoughts in my head. Was this team better than the Bucs team? I really think they were. I think this team, like, I think all the stats are real. And the fact the Chiefs won this game just is a huge testament to their season. There's no doubt that they deserve this win. And it's certainly something I'll remember for a long time.
Yeah, man, that's tough. Brady, Lamar. I think I'd still maybe go that Bucs team just because Brady's the quarterback there. But
the Ravens are certainly better in the regular season than the Bucs team was. The Bucs team just peaked so hard at the end of the year.
What do you think, Caleb?
Man, I wouldn't have done that if I was Justin Tucker. That was not the move to make in that situation. Like, come on, dude. That's what they make kicking nets for, is if you're trying to get your leg loose from that close. Nah, man, but I mean, the Ravens, like I said a couple of times, they built their franchise. They've won Super Bowls off of being the aggressor, you know, being the instigator, making people mad, out physicaling people, and the Chiefs matched their energy perfectly. The Ravens made the dumb mistakes down the line. They turned the ball over in the red zone when they couldn't. They just, you know, it was just awesome to see the Chiefs go in there and play that brand of football and win. It's a brand. I don't think anyone can ever call Andy Reid say he only has finesse teams, because the Chiefs just went in there and they won a slugfest.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. They turn it on physically when they want to, and it was beautiful to see in Baltimore and in Buffalo and against Miami. This team has turned it on down the stretch, and we're going to see them do it against San Francisco as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Super Bowl Sunday, more than a week from now, about 10 days from now. So appreciate everyone joining. Appreciate everyone listening. We will be back next week previewing that game against the Niners. But until then, have a good night. We'll catch you then.